the time has finally come. This is the moment that no one is waiting for. We're going to talk about the co-op games of the 3DO. There are a total of 9 co-op games, and we're going to talk about them in alphabetical order. These games range from pretty bad to decent, and that's about as good as they get. But I'm just trying to cover every co-op game for every system. So here we go. One of the better games on the system is called Burning Soldier. This is an on-rails shooter with some pre-rendered and FMV backgrounds. You control these 2 little cursors to take out all the enemies, and you fly around through the environment automatically. This one also came out on Windows, but it was exclusive on the 3DO as far as home console ports go. The gameplay here is very simple and basic, and it doesn't really change a whole lot. There are 18 total stages, and they're arranged in 4 missions. At the end of each one, you have a boss fight. One cool feature is there is a cheat code that allows you to unlock a 4-player simultaneous mode. I haven't tried this out yet, but it's something I definitely need to get around to. It's definitely not one of the best on-rail shooters I've ever played, but when it comes to co-op 3DO games, this one is definitely one of the better ones. Captain Quazar. Captain Quazar is another 3DO exclusive for consoles. It did get a PC release in 1997 though. It's basically a run and gun shooter from a top-down isometric type of view. This is definitely one of the better co-op games on the system. You're able to pick up a variety of futuristic guns and missiles and bombs, and you can buy new ones as you go. This is a game that doesn't take itself too seriously. There's a lot of humor here, and there's some interesting CGI cutscenes. But that being said, I don't really think that the humor really holds up. A lot of it kind of just falls flat as far as I'm concerned. Even though the game feels pretty solid and polished, it's a game that I feel like it could have just been tightened up a bit. Every time I pick this one up, I just spend a lot of time wandering around aimlessly without really any idea of what to do or where to go. I think that this would have worked better if it was just more linear. You just go forward, kill the enemies, and then move on. But that being said, I would definitely recommend Captain Quazar. If I were to pick out one co-op game on the 3DO, Captain Quazar would be that game. Now let's step into the world of FMV games, starting with Crime Patrol. If you're not familiar with FMV games, it stands for full motion video, and this is a genre that originally came out like in the early 90s and is pretty much popularized on CD-based consoles like the Sega CD, the 3DO, and the CDI. These are games that pretty much just went completely extinct after this era, and honestly, that's for good reason. It's more about just showing off the video capabilities of the hardware and less about actual solid gameplay. So all that being said, yeah, Crime Patrol is not a great game. You play as police officers, and basically all you can do is control these little cursors. When an enemy comes on the screen, you have to shoot them before they can shoot you. There are a number of missions that you get to choose from. Each one of them has terrible acting and pretty much just low budget production values altogether. Honestly, the only reason to play these games now is just to make fun of them. There's no substance here, and they're just not very fun.
You'll never make it to undercover.
And even though this game absolutely did not deserve a sequel, it still got one. Crime Patrol 2, Drug Wars. What can I say? It's more of the same. Bad acting, bad production value, low quality video. It's just the same concept repeated. You get this cutscene, and when an enemy appears, you have to shoot them before they shoot you. And yeah, you can play it in 2-player co-op. I don't know what else to say about it. Just watch this scene.
They're dealing dope in this bar. What do you say we buy these guys a 6-pack?
If I wasn't clear, I would not recommend this game. Last Bounty Hunter. Again, another on-rail shooter FMV game, but this one is set in the Old West. Basically, you have to shoot down all of the outlaws. When you take them out, you receive money, and that turns into points. You can have 3 different weapons in the game. You have a standard 6-shooter, a shotgun, and then there's a gun that has more bullets. This game is compatible with the mouse and light gun, but I only played it with controllers, so you have to slowly move around the cursor. And yeah, it doesn't work very well. Nothing really works well here in this game. It's not fun. Also, not recommended.
Keep shooting like that, and I won't be able to help you.
Mad Dog 2, The Lost Gold. So if you didn't like The Last Bounty Hunter, you're definitely not going to like Mad Dog 2. More of the same. It's another FMV game. You have cursors, you move around. I would also not recommend this one. Are you noticing a theme here? FMV games are not very good, especially the co-op ones on the 3DO.
Whoa! Looks like that prospector ran into a porcupine, one with feathers.
Stranger, this is the map to the gold. The Padre has the other half. Watch out for Mad Dog.
Take a little break from the FMV games and let's talk about a game called Mazer. So this one is a top-down run-and-gun shooter set in an arena, kind of like Smash TV, but very bad. This one has digitized actors in it. So think of Mortal Kombat or something like that, but you have guns and you can play it 2-player co-op. You run around, you shoot down the enemies, and then there's a boss fight, and then you can move on to the next level. Unfortunately, the controls are pretty bad. You can run, you can jump, and you can shoot, and none of those movements are responsive. Not only that, the game looks bad. The graphics are bad, the art is ugly, and all the characters just look dumb. I guess this is another game that can be kind of fun to just make fun of if you're playing it with a friend, but other than that, Mazer has almost no redeeming qualities. It's truly one of the worst games I've ever played. Alright, let's get back to some FMV games. Now we have Space Pirates. At least this one has the most interesting setting. Basically, you just shoot down the enemies as soon as you can, you watch the full motion video clips, and you make fun of it as you go. I found this one to be the most charming as far as the low quality production goes. And don't get me wrong, this game is still a complete piece of shit. I just found it to be a little bit more entertaining than the other ones. And once again, you can use a mouse or a light gun here, but I was stuck with the 3DO gamepad, which if you haven't played it, the gamepad, it sucks on this console. I'll just say that. It has some cool features. It has a headphone jack with volume control. Another unique feature is the 3DO console itself only has one controller port. So in order to play multiplayer, you actually daisy chain the controllers together. Each controller has its own unique controller port. So theoretically, you could connect an unlimited amount of controllers. There's no limitation. I always found that to be interesting, but unfortunately the controller itself doesn't feel good. The D-pad's not very good and the buttons are all pretty stiff. All this to say, would I recommend Space Pirates? Absolutely not. And would I recommend the 3DO controller? Also, no.
Hey, Ranger, that was a colonist you just blasted.
Now let's talk about Who Shot Johnny Rock. All right, the final game on our list. Did we save the best for last? No, we did not. This game also sucks. It's another FMV game, surprise, surprise. And it's another one that I would not recommend. I sound like a broken record here. The bottom line is, these FMV games, they're not good. The only purpose that they serve is for you and a friend to get together in the same room and just make fun of them. But they're not going to be a fun gaming experience. I don't know if this one is really better or worse than any of the other ones. They're all pretty much equally not good or fun. If I had to pick the best FMV game on the system, I'd guess Space Pirates, but I don't know. It's really hard for me to say because they all suck. Yeah, none of these are really worth trying out unless maybe you have a group of friends together and you all want to laugh at it. That is honestly the only way I could see getting any enjoyment out of any of these FMV games.
Nail the rat that did this. Put him away until he's as old and gray as the cement in his cell.
Then I made my second mistake. I said I'd try.
So there you go. There are 9 co-op games on the 3DO. And unfortunately, this list, it was pretty abysmal. None of these games are very good or recommended. The only 2 that I could possibly recommend are Burning Soldier and Captain Quasar. But those are both still not amazing games. Okay, those ones are average at best. So unfortunately, the 3DO is just not a great console for co-op gaming. I wish that it had some better titles, but there you go. It's still an interesting piece of hardware, and I'm glad that I have it in my collection. But after recording all this footage, I can't really see myself going back to it anytime soon. I'm gonna need a break. So, are there any co-op games that I missed on the 3DO? And if you enjoyed this video, Check out our video where we actually covered a console with really great co-op games, the Sega Saturn. And thanks for watching.